I begin this text in an unscrupulous way about myself, Lestat the act of living. In a way, I think I would be much happier if I were an alienated person and woke up on a sunny Sunday morning and didn't give a damn about the facts and let all the dirt of the world go down the drain and settle down and focus on my own benefit. But my nature is the opposite and consuming and consumerist. And I wear myself out consuming my own theories. In all forms of thoughts and actions, I act impulsively. By my very nature, maybe one day I'll change. And I won't care if the postman delivered the newspaper or not. I always appreciate things with a critical eye, judging and subjugating everything. A high degree of self-correction. The journalist writes his article, then puts it on the agenda, passes it to the editor. After being reviewed, it reaches the hands of the communicators. And finally the news goes on the air, and the distributions are made, and it reaches the newsstands, from the newsstands to the hands of the readers. And all the material is disseminated. In my case, it's the opposite. Everything is stored within me. Maybe I'm only looking at one angle, and I end up being negligent with myself. From a very young age, I left the maternal bosom of my dearest mother, and I was already taking positions in social circles. That's where I tried my first cigarette. I confess that at first I didn't like it. And you must be imagining, before I finish my story, that I went from a cigarette to illicit drugs. Sorry to disappoint you, I've always had a high degree of self-analysis. And the fact that I'm out of control and unrestrained doesn't give me the right to mutilate myself. One beautiful day I was walking down a long, large avenue, somewhat detached from everything, letting myself be carried away with my childlike innocence, which I only had because I allowed myself to be carried away. It was then that I decided to turn a corner and found myself surrounded by a crowd of gypsies. I was utterly astonished, terrified by the number of gypsies around me. I quickened my pace, and then a gypsy woman deliberately threw herself in my direction and politely asked for my hand. I was speechless and didn't understand anything, but I replied. With her gaze fixed on mine, she said, "I just want to see your hand." I decided to give in and gave her my left hand, and immediately she asked me to give her my right hand. I extended my right hand to her, and she asked me to open it. As I opened it, she passed her hand over mine without any tricks and told me, "This is not your path." There are times when it seems like I'm dead. I let things happen, a certain alienation, almost intentional and selfish. I detach myself from almost everything. I stop appreciating even the birdsong. The air, nature doesn't even seem to exist for me, and my poet soul disconnects from myself. And then I realize that I am the poet of the world's sorrows. And if the atmosphere is not pierced, then my end will come. And I realize that the world I find myself in is outdated, and that my greatest gift are memories. And that's where I cease to be the alienated one, becoming a protester in a generalized way. And I cease to be the poet, becoming the human being who fights and struggles for their rights. And thus I prevail, and I don't blame myself all the time. And I return to myself the act of living as a normal human being. I have witnessed mothers who took positions in their interactions were children and were unhappy. In other cases, the children who took a stand were successful. In my family, we are almost all alienated. And my parents are responsible for our positions. As a child, my dreams were always surreal, and I never truly knew what they were, because my imagination took me to places I could never go. And over time, my imagination faded. And literature, in a way, opens the doors to alienation, where each author leaves a little of themselves and of others who, like them, help write their stories. It's an exchange of identities, the present, the past, and the future. And the fact that I'm in the lab all the time has given me the opportunity to see award-winning actors excel in supporting roles. One day I will see the sun as it truly is, with its glowing incandescent yellow, and I will watch it in awe, admiring its entire performance until it sets behind the clouds. I hope I don't disappoint you, because I don't want to open myself up completely as the protocol dictates, because I hope to profit from the industry with a few more texts.